G'day guys, Marcus here from GetCarTech. Today in the shop, we've got a 2016 Holden Commodore Caprice. This is a VF Series 2, and this is one of the cars that we specialize here at GetCarTech. We're gonna be installing our famous DIY CarPlay module for the VF1 and the VF Series 2 Commodores. This little product right here is gonna allow us to have fully wireless Apple CarPlay and fully wireless Android Auto using the stock MyLink screen, and we're not going to lose any access to the MyLink system at all. This is really beneficial to keeping the stock look and feel of these cars. A lot of these are becoming collector's items now, so we're very aware that a lot of people don't want to change the head units out, and this is the perfect solution for that. If you've got an HSV, this is also great because you're not going to lose access to your EDI interface as well. This install is going to take us about 90 minutes for the VF2s, and if you've got a VF1, we also make a kit for the VF1 as well. The VF1s are actually a little easier, but we'll go over some of the details later on in the video. Can't wait to show the end result. This one is a banger. For today's tools, all we're going to need is a socket set, specifically a 7mm socket, and we're also going to need a trim tool. We include these in our kits when you purchase them. All right, so let's get this thing disassembled. These Holdens are actually very, very simple to pull apart. Again, we're only going to need a 7mm socket set and a trim tool. We're also going to be using a towel here. In previous versions of our tutorials, we did remove these pieces of trim either side of the gear stick, but a lot of these can become fragile over time. So we're going to leave these in place, and we're going to use our towel to protect them when we pull out the actual radio that hides behind here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the included trim tool to pop out this piece of trim and this piece over here. These are basically the same thing, but the one on the right is a shorter version. These are held in by standard trim clips. Now you can actually do this, you can get away with doing this with your fingers, but we'll use the trim tool here just to be safe. Now once one clip is released, then we can work from one side to the other, just releasing each clip one by one. We'll pop that out nicely. We're gonna put this in the back seat out of harm's way. All right, the one on the left here is a little easier if we jump over to the left side of the car. And this whole thing is accessible when you drop the glove box. So if we just pull towards us with the glove box dropped, this will come out nice and easy. Again, we're gonna put this in the back seat for safekeeping. Now that we've pulled those trim pieces off, we can see some exposed 7mm bolts here. We got one, two on the climate control vents, and we've got 1, 2 here on the wings of our screen piece. So we'll start with our climate control bolts. We're going to pull all 4 of these out, and these are all the same size, so you can just pop these in the cup holder together. Okay, great. Now with those bolts out, we can pull out this climate control panel. If we just pull this towards us, that will come. So let's remove the screen now. So this whole thing is all one piece. So this will come out in one go. There's basically clips all around the perimeter of this screen here. We can start on the left side and just pull towards us. And as long as we're not putting any pressure or flexing pressure on this piece, it'll come out nicely all in one go. There's 3 on the back of the screen. And we're going to disconnect them. They're all color coded, so don't worry about it. Now, this is the actual brains of the MyLink system. It's held in by 4 more 7mm bolts. We'll skip ahead to where we got all 4 screws out. We're going to slowly pull this out, but if we do it nice and carefully, we can get a better look at what's behind our radio. So we've got our main cable here, our secondary cable down here. We'll talk more about this as we remove it. Alrighty, so we've moved our main harnesses just to the left here, so we've got a bit more room, and so you can see a bit more of what's going on here. But we're going to start to disconnect some of the cables from the stock radio. So first one we're going to do is this quad lock connector. The way that we release this is by pressing the button on the top of the lever. Once the button is free, this lever is free to actuate. Cool, so that's our quad lock out, and we can see here when we pull this lever up, it does the last few millimeters and makes sure that connection is nice and secure. So moving on, our LVDS cable is this blue one here. This one's nice and easy to remove. And then we're going to attach this to our female end of the aftermarket harness. This goes in like this, just line up the teeth and push it through until it clicks. All right, with this gray cable, this is the one that we're plugging into the female end of our aftermarket harness. Now, so that one's going to go in, until it clicks. All right, so everything's back in where it needs to be. The last thing we've got is the male end of our aftermarket quad lock. So before we push this in, we want to visually sight and make sure we're putting it in the correct way. So thin pins on the top, thick pins on the bottom. And again, we want to make sure our lever is fully disengaged. Then we can push this one in until it won't go any further. You want to make sure there's only a couple mil of travel left for the cable before you start to push the lever in. And it can take a couple of tries, and it can take also a fair bit of pressure on the lever to make sure it's fully disengaged. Now we can see the lever is starting to engage, so we know we're at the point where we want to engage the lever, and then all the way up until it clicks. And we can hear the radio power on as well. So cool, that's all our connections done. Now we can move on to connecting up the module. All right, we're saving the best part till last. We've done all the hard stuff, all the boring stuff. Now we can connect this module and hide it above the glove box. An LVDS cable. This one goes into our blue port here, and we want to plug this one in first. And we want to plug it all the way in until it clicks. Then we can move on to our USB input cable. We want to make sure the teeth align with the connector here. And again, this is one that we want to hear click. And you'll know that that's plugged in correctly because those teeth will engage. Now, last one is our main power connector. So this one, we just want to make sure our cables sort of aren't overlapping one another. And we can make that connection here. Cool, so we can see the unit has power. We've got some blinking red lights. At this stage, you can start to test the system. All right, so it's a good idea to run the engine at this point because we've been working off the battery for a while. So we're just gonna start it up. And the MyLink system may take a couple of seconds to boot because we've fully unplugged everything. There we go. Cool, so that's the first good sign. We've booted into MyLink, no problem. Now, to get into the aftermarket system, the shortcut is holding the back button below the screen here. So we'll hold that. And we can see that we've swapped into the aftermarket interface. So that's the next good sign. All right, so we will connect a phone just to make sure our audio is working correctly. Because we've paired that phone to CarPlay, that CarPlay connection should happen automatically, which it is. So that's another nice sign. Now we can see our quick access toolbars on the right side. We want to make sure at this point to test the audio that we are playing some media inside of CarPlay, and we won't hear anything at the moment. On the MyLink screen, we can see that it's recognizing USB audio. That's a great sign. And then we can hear our CarPlay audio is playing through the MyLink system. Now when we switch back, holding the back button, we can see all of our functions are working. So we can test a few other things while we're here, like the reverse camera. We can see the reverse camera is working. We can see when we put it in park, it jumps straight back into CarPlay. We can test our steering wheel buttons. So our steering wheel buttons are working, volume's going up and down, skip track is working. Yeah, we can be pretty confident that everything is functioning as it should. All right, so we've confirmed everything's working, sound's working, steering wheel buttons are working, reverse camera's working. We're super happy. We know we've done this properly, so we can turn the car off now and we can start to put everything back together. Basically do everything you've done, but in reverse. All right, with our radio box in, we can put our screen back for the final connection. So with this one, there's clips all around the perimeter. Work your way around the edge of the screen and make sure it's clicked in nicely. We'll give this a clean up with a microfiber, but then it's just these last 4 bolts to go in, and then we click our trim pieces back in, and that's the job done. Alrighty guys, trim pieces, we just push them with even pressure. They'll click right back into place. And with this longer one, we'll just start with this section here, just because it's the tightest part. Click that in, and then we can move from right to left until finally that last clip's in. All right, guys, there it is. The whole system's installed. Now we'll take the time to show you some of the other features this system includes. Since we've already paired our phone to wireless CarPlay, we'll see first of all that the MyLink system detects our USB input, which is great. And then we'll see it automatically jumps into wireless CarPlay. Super convenient. That's the kind of behavior you'd expect from the day-to-day from our systems. You start the car, you'll see MyLink, and then roughly 10 seconds later, we jump straight into wireless CarPlay. Now, of course, I don't have to speak much about CarPlay, but you've got your favorite apps in here like Spotify, Waze, Google Maps, whatever your flavor, it'll show up in here. And to have that wireless connection is just super convenient. And these MyLink screens, they actually look really good with CarPlay, despite the fact that these screens are 10 years old. If we jump back into, if we press the Holden button, we'll jump back into the stock interface. We'll just go over some functions in here. So you've got music. So if you plug in a USB drive to the USB input down here, you can play back some MP3 files off a USB. Pretty old school, but that's still available as an option. Obviously, we've got wireless CarPlay, we've got wireless Android Auto, and something that's really cool is we've also got screen mirroring. So we'll show you guys how that one works now. If you hit the mirroring button, swipe down to your quick settings, and this button here that looks like two rectangles overlapping is your AirPlay button. And you can see here the Holden device is coming up as if it's an Apple TV. And in a couple seconds that connection will happen. And there we have it. How cool is that? That's full screen mirroring wirelessly on your iPhone, and it's also really snappy. And you can even see when we put these screens sideways, it even works with horizontal media. This is our YouTube channel streaming on the screen of the VF2 here. How cool is that? You can basically do this with any app on your phone, YouTube, Netflix, whatever. If it's on your phone screen, it'll show up here. So full wireless screen mirroring. You can see how snappy that connection is as well. This is a really cool feature that we're super proud of. There you have it, guys. In under 90 minutes, we've installed fully wireless Apple CarPlay into this VF2 here today using the GetCarTech wireless CarPlay DIY kit. Now, this also works on the VF Series 1s as well. So if you have any VF Series Commodore, doesn't matter if it's a VF Series 1 or 2, HSV, doesn't matter. As long as the screen looks like this, you can be certain it's compatible with our kits. We have these available on our site, getcartech.com.au. They come with our successful install guarantee. We are specialists when it comes to Holden, so we pretty much guarantee that if you buy this kit, you'll be able to install it successfully. We also have dedicated phone support as well. So this is truly a risk-free purchase. We stand by our products. We exist because we want CarPlay to be easy. This system's fantastic. You can see by toggling the back button, we can switch in and out of the stock MyLink system. So this is a really great option. You don't lose any stock features, and CarPlay actually looks really good on these MyLink screens, despite the fact that they're coming up on 10 years old. All right, guys, as always, today's YouTube video was just a bit of an overview. We skipped over a couple of steps relating to the install, but if you do buy our kits, we send you a private YouTube link with the full installation tutorial that's real time, and we don't skip a single step. We're confident that anyone can install these things. So if you haven't already, pick yourself up one of these kits and transform your VF Holden forever.